Hey, she doing the question.
No more to go.
With the show called It's Your Birthday. Hey, let that play.
It took that.
I'm tired just listening to that.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You can hang out with Chicago Famous Mike Love and Diz 3 to 6 p.m. right here on What's in It for the Black People Media live on the Mace Jackson page. So shout out to Chicago Famous. They did their thing. They did a phenomenal job. Those brothers, listen, radio legends, right? And you come in and you're used to doing things one way and trying to flip it and do another way. They handled it seamlessly, man. So shout out to Mike Love and Diz for holding it down as they always have done. Welcome to the What's in It for the Black People Media family. Good luck at achieving number 2 status for the second best show on What's in It for the Black People Media, because number 1 is and always will be I Said What I Said.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
Whenever I play, I want to play to win. I don't see no purpose in playing.
You play to win the game.
What's the word?
In the famous
Can
words
you
of Herm
beat
Edwards.
my ass, though?
Can you whoop my ass, though?
It's really that simple. I don't plan on getting my ass whooped.
Hey, yo, wait a minute. Hey.
Chicago Famous, they
Mike
can whoop
can't
my ass.
and Chicago
We not
Famous
here for
can't
no
whoop.
ass whooping.
That's
Hey, yo, what's your problem, man? Y'all are brothers. You ain't supposed to be fighting each other.
We not
Famous
here for
can't
no
whoop.
ass whooping.
That's not what we here for.
We're not here for no ass
It's
whooping.
not what we here for.
Not at all.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Tucson Warner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
WIFTV-PM.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Tucson Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you've ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to another edition of I Said What I Said. Today is Monday, and there's a date attached to it, which I do not know. But thank you all so very, very much for being here. We greatly appreciate you all choosing to tune in. Today's the 14th. Thank you so much, Miss Sonia Escobar. Esco is always on top of everything. I have no idea. I'm going to tell you the truth, Esco. I ain't been asleep in like 3 days.
Oh gosh.
Like for real.
Why?
Well, for 2 days I was just constantly going, and so I was just woke. And then yesterday I had every intention of getting a whole lot of sleep. I was in the bed by like 9 o'clock, but I just couldn't actually get to sleep. So I stayed up. I ended up again being up to like 5, 6 o'clock. Finally dozed off, and I woke up, started watching y'all at about 7. So, you know, it's cool though. I'm not complaining.
So you have to be.
I just don't know what day it is. I'm not complaining. I just don't know what day it is.
So that's the only reason you tuned in this morning? Was it because you couldn't sleep?
Oh, don't nobody be trying to hear what May's talking about.
Not never.
Except all of Chicago and the whole world.
Except everybody. No, for sure. Thank y'all so much for really choosing to tune in to I Said What I Said. If you do not know, we get together right here each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My name is Herb Howard. His name is Tucson Warner. And we discuss issues that are impacting the black community, how those things are impacting us as individuals, and also how they're impacting us as a collective. And along with your help, we try to talk through many of these things in hopes of finding the best solutions going forward. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. So as we go through, anything that you want to add to the conversation, please, you feel free to leave your comments or live on the page. We'll read through as many of them as possible as we go. Also in the 2 o'clock hour, we will open up the phone lines to you. The telephone number here is 872-259-7474. 872-259-7474. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its finest. We think this is the blackest conversation in America. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. Tu, what's happening, good brother?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. My brother, how you, man?
Man, if I was doing any better, I would sell myself. I'm chilling, man. I'm tired. But I just been going. But I'm good. I feel just fine. Also, y'all, please, if you haven't done so, please take a quick moment to share the conversation. Share it on your personal page. Share it even within your own personal network. Anybody that you think would either add value to or find value in this particular conversation, we welcome their input. We feel like the more like-minded individuals that we can have be a part of this conversation, the better the opportunity that we have of finding the optimum solutions going forward. So please, please, please take a quick moment to share the page, like it, follow the page. And if you feel so inclined, you can also choose to support the show by clicking on those little gold stars down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, which I see Kenneth Steele just did. Thank you so very, very much for the stars, as well as Bryant Lamar. We truly, truly appreciate you all contributing to the show that way. It means a ton to us. See a lot of Izwiz OGs checking in. Shout out to Adrian Anderson, man. Adrian been at my head. Her and Patah, they might be the two silliest people in the What's in It for the Black People media family, okay? They are absolute fools. I was tuning in to, I don't know if it was the Mace Jackson show this morning or if this was during the BOD Book of Dawn, but as soon as Adrian saw me check in, she could instantly get to going on about my lifestyle and her about all these women. Because I walked in, because you was in there on BOD. What was y'all talking about on BOD today, Esco?
Oh gosh, so much.
Yeah, as soon as I walked in, all I saw was like oral skills.
Doodling in people's mouths. That's what they were talking about.
Really?
That was some very disgusting conversation.
Y'all went there this morning?
They
It
was on
was-
some next level. Don stay on the pervert act.
in
She stay under the pervert act.
Medical approach, you know.
There's a medical
There's a
approach
medical
fetishes.
approach to that.
to defecating in someone's mouth.
You know.
Yeah, that's a very unhealthy medical approach to anything.
I'll pass on that
Mondays,
hospital.
Yes, Mondays, Book of Dawn. We talk about sex.
Shout out, let's talk about sex, maybe. Shout out to Dawn Millhouse, the radio rookie. She's absolutely doing her thing. Her and Lisa E is always entertaining. So if you haven't tuned into that, make sure you are checking in with them every weekday, 9 to 11. And the good brother Salim Muwakil, a.k.a. the Black Forrest Gump, kicked off Muwakil's World today. He's going to be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Shout out to the brother Salim. It's always good to see him and listen to him and drop some of those words that I can't spell, pronounce, or comprehend.
Yeah, I feel very learned right now.
Learned it, right? I always feel learned it when I talk to Salim. So good to see him over here with the What's in It for the Black People media family. Always good to talk to that brother. That was a dope show. I learned a lot just trying to listen, right? I gotta watch I gotta listen with a thesaurus, but you know it works. 2, you sent me a couple of things that we're gonna get into. So let's get into the rundown.
Before we jump into all of that, man, you said you couldn't sleep this week. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of under the same act, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm dealing with this hip problem or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And I went and got a steroid shot because they said that should last you between like 3 to 6 months. And then they also told me I was too young to get a hip replacement. I did that maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm in more pain now than I've ever been in. G.
Wow.
Now, I'm dumb because I do dumb shit in regards to, like, taking care of that or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this weekend I rode to South Holland on my bike.
Yeah, because I'm
I don't
sure
know.
that was doctor's orders.
Wow.
Sure, the doctor was like,
Well, he
"Hey,
didn't tell me
take the steroid shot in your hip and then bike 100 miles."
But they didn't say chill. They said you should be better. So when you say you should be better, I took your advice. You're a medical doctor. I should be able to listen to that and go forth with my life.
No.
That's not what that
yes.
means at all, bro.
That's exactly what that means.
That
right?
does, it's like, oh, I sprained my ankle. Okay, we're gonna put a splint on it, and it should feel better. So you go hoop the next day.
Yeah,
No,
that's exactly. Unless they say different. But my point is,
so you're one of the smartest people I know. How do you think that makes sense?
well, I live like a lion instead of a lamb. But my point is,
The lion's
though,
stupid as
it's
hell, though.
painful. And I'm finna force their hand to give me that surgery, dude. This is outrageous, bro. I can't even sleep. It's really outrageous.
That's unfortunate, man. That's a comfort. That one of those ones you can't really get to. You know what I'm saying? Most times something hurt, you can kind of put your hand on it. You can find a way to comfort it. You're talking about dealing with a hip. I don't know how you can comfort that, right? You can't really sleep. You tossing and turning. So I imagine you've been having some sleepless nights as well. I just been acting the fool, really.
That's about how this works. You act a fool. I try to deal with my health. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man,
I'm
listen.
old. You young. It is what it is.
it is
You're
what
not
it is.
old.
Oh, I'm old. I'm living dog
Look
years.
at that drip. Look at that. Look at that.
For every 1 year of my life, it's probably 7 in the regular human's life because I'm outrageous.
You shouldn't be living that way.
I really should. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't be living that way. Tucson, you rode to South Holland as opposed to the next block over. Yeah, something is wrong with the dude. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know why my hip keeps hurting. Fool.
Well, I feel great, guys. I got enough sleep.
You feeling
this
good?
week. Yeah.
You looking good too. You all dressed up, looking all
Something
nice.
got on the fit.
Right.
Flip flops and a t-shirt.
What's his
guys.
name, Esco?
Swagging out here.
Hey, listen.
What's his name?
Hey.
You can
hey.
tell us.
Nobody.
We family.
Nobody.
This is all I said when I said
wish.
family. You
Listen,
can tell us.
So help me out, guys. You know.
No,
I don't know
Esco, you too
nobody.
picky.
Come on,
You
bro.
way too picky. You was telling me last week some brother was asking you out to go somewhere, and you was like, nah,
No,
nah.
ladies. When a guy tries, and it's a no from the get-go, it's a no.
Well, you ain't say
You gotta
he had
stop
been
trying.
hounding you.
See,
you just
Sonya,
said he
I
asked
disagree with that, man. I
Reward his
disagree with that.
persistence.
Yes, right. Persistence will get you everywhere, in my opinion.
No.
One day he gonna catch you on a lonely night.
Oh no.
He gonna catch you on a lonely night
That's why I wait for you
Or a
guys.
hungry
to
night.
leave.
or a hungry night. Right?
Hungry
when you
nights
ready to
work
go.
too.
Hungry nights work too, right?
No.
You want to go out to eat? Usually works for women. I don't know why y'all be so damn hungry, but it works for
When
y'all.
I was younger, and perhaps.
All right, keep on playing. Let's go. Anyhow, we are going to get into a few things this afternoon. A couple things we want to get into. One being that Andrew Gillum, former presidential candidate or governor. No, he was running for governor. I'm sorry. And he thought about throwing his head. Did he actually throw his head into the ring for presidential? Was he
No,
in the primary?
just for governor. But at the end of the day, he lost the governorship. But he was kind of becoming like the second coming of Obama,
He
right?
was.
You know, he was being heralded as the next guy.
Yeah.
Also, just like Stacey Abrams and just like some of the other black emerging politicians.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that we putting these titles on them as being the second coming of Obama, and they can't even win the states that they're in.
Right.
Which is kind of like aggressive, in my opinion.
It's ambitious.
It's very ambitious. You know what I mean? And even still, what the hell is the second coming of an Obama?
What's that even mean?
That's something we really want,
Right.
You know, but I think it's very interesting. You know, this interview that he just did with Tamron Hall, and I think it speaks to what we talk about all the time in regards to like what's it mean to be black and masculine.
Yeah, I think he's finding his humanity in another lane. And for him, that lane is his declaration that he identifies as being bisexual. So we're going to get into that conversation, what that looks like. Also, we're going to talk about Latino voters in Florida. They say we are not rocking with Uncle Joe.
Don't look at me. Them Cubans. Don't do that.
Mira!
What is wrong with you, Esco? Oh, my God. Anyway, they say,
Wake up!
They say they are not rocking with Joe Biden, regardless, and ultimately that may end up costing them the election. And if it does, who's going to get blamed for it too?
Not them, right? But I think that's interesting that they have this kind of backlash, and I think it's interesting if you juxtapose the Latino community and how that conversation is emerging,
Sure,
versus how that conversation plays out in the black community. Like if you say, "Hey, I'm not with Uncle Joe," you like the goddamn Antichrist.
Oh yeah, you're
know
right.
what I
You got to
mean?
get out of here.
And I think it's interesting that the Latino community is leveraging that positioning to say, "Hey, man, what's in it for the Latino community?
What's in it for the Latino
community? You know what I'm saying?
community?
Like, otherwise, fuck you.
Fuck you.
You know what I mean? We need to take some lessons from that community, because if we say what's in it for the black people in regards to like the Trump Biden election, it's
Right.
like, what's wrong with you?
What's in it for the black people is that Trump is leaving.
Right, that Trump is leaving. Like, it's
That's not shit
outrageous
for us.
that we can't have that
specifically.
conversation.
Yeah, no. But every time, I think that a lot of times we approach this thing from this idea, one, that we aren't a monolith, right? And then two, we kind of get a little arrogant sometimes. When we have that conversation, say, oh, we could actually learn from another community and how they move. And people are like, nah, what we got to learn? We've done everything. And I'm saying, yeah, we have done everything. But sometimes, right, we've gotten away from some of those things, right? And so you look at the way that things are done in the Latino community, or you look at the way things are done in the LGBTQ community or the Asian community, like all communities except the black community are able to find a singular identity and maintain their own neighborhoods, their own communities. They own and operate most of the things within their own community. There is something to be learned from a lot of those communities if we are willing to actually see it that way and learn something. So the Latino voters down in Florida say, listen, what you got for us, or we ain't got nothing for you. Also, new show on Netflix, Social Dilemma. I haven't checked it out. What's to it?
It's a documentary about the impact of the digital space, and I think I implore anybody who can go check it out because it speaks to how we're kind of moving into this space where marketing is shaping our identity.
Absolutely,
right? Where marketing is shaping our belief systems, and oftentimes we think about social media in regards to like data. We say, oh, they're selling our data, but that's not really true, because it wouldn't be, advantageous in regards to their business model to sell our data. What they're selling is the fact that they can dictate our thought processes. And when we think about the environment that we're in right now, I think that's a very interesting concept to kind of explore, because like when you think about Fox News, for example, right? Fox News has one version of the news. It fits whatever their narrative is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the average person who's listening to Fox News isn't listening to nothing but Fox News.
Right.
And we kind of, those people who are not kind of engulfed in that world, be like, man, what the fuck is wrong with them people? They're crazy as hell.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But everybody within that world,
Everybody in that
shares
world
similar
believes that
thinking.
shit to be truth. right? But then you got to juxtapose the situation and say, what happens to the minds of those who don't listen to Fox News, right? Because it's not a comparative analysis. You believe whatever the fuck CNN is telling you, or MSNBC is telling you, right? And it's the same kind of sickness, right? But we got to ask ourselves, one, who's paying for the advertising, and what do they want to get out of that goal, right? So you can push agendas via the payment and via the corruption of the mentality. And it talks about on the Social Dilemma Netflix show, it speaks about that from the standpoint of the digital space.
Right.
And we got to be cognitive in the sense that, like, my children was, first of all, I was born in an age where the internet was constructed. It was invented in my lifetime.
Right. Exactly.
So I remember a world without it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But we have generations of children being born
only
now
know that.
who only know that world, right? So my children don't watch television. My children don't really listen to the radio.
No.
All of that shit is via their phone or via their computers.
Which is controlled by different algorithms and deliver messages to
directly to you specifically, right? You be thinking about some shoes you want, they start popping up in your news.
That always blows me.
Right? So when you start thinking about it from that standpoint, you can legitimately dictate the outcomes of people's behaviors. And that's scary, fam.
Yeah, they used it in the election, right? You know, proof or no proof, right? They used it in the election to predict the outcomes of what would happen, and they were able to influence those outcomes and actually control them in that way. So I think that, it's a real thing. How often do you think people have original thoughts these days?
I wonder if it's ever been any original thought since the invent of media. I sometimes I struggle with whether or not that's real or not. You know what I mean? Even in my own case, right?
Sure,
We got to be honest about it, right? So I think everything is cyclical, right? So great example of this is like, when you start thinking like the human genome, like the human genes, right? We are legitimately a part of the first man. You know what I'm saying? Like legitimately, there's portions of me that was attached to first man in humanity, right?
Sure.
So everything in me, all of the information in me is just like a computer logarithm. This shit is already here, right? And if I'm open to the universe, it just will come to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I could learn how to hunt lions just by being open, because somebody in my gene pool already did that shit, and that genome is within me, right? Yeah. So I don't know how much original. That's some Salim Muwakil kind of conversation, esoteric than a motherfucker, but it could be real. You know what I mean? That could be a real thought. Like if I'm just open to the universe and open to the spirit, all the information that is passed through the universe is already embedded in my genome.
True.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
Real. That's real.
Some real shit. So when you go back and you learn in books, and it's like Meteor Man. You remember the
Baby Lords?
The Meteor Man, right? So he would pick up a book, and then all of a sudden he could do everything the book talks about.
Right.
That's legitimately, really, if we was tapped into our universal spirit, we probably could do the same shit.
No, that's real.
You know what I mean? So if is any of the information new? I doubt it. I think we lose more information. I think we lose it, but I think it's already there.
That dude had that on what's the name of that show? The lawyers. I forget it. I can't think of what the show was called. But that dude could, anything he saw, he instantly committed it to memory and could regurgitate it verbatim, no matter how much information that it was on. I can't think of the show. But anyway, that's a conversation we're going to get into as well. And later on in the 2:00 hour, there was a newborn baby left in a Chicago area hallway, like newborn, still with the umbilical cord attached on the baby's end. It was still, covered in blood. And some young people found it. There's a video that went around on Instagram. We'll try and get the audio for you all later on in the 2:00 hour. We're going to have that conversation around what would drive a person to make that type of decision, right? And why did she not feel safe to, A, deliver the baby in the hospital, put it up for adoption, B, drop the baby off at a firehouse or police station, as opposed to leaving the baby newborn in the hallway. Now, fortunately, some people found the baby, right? Some young folks found the baby, and they called the police, and the ambulance came, and the baby was alive when they took the baby away. So hopefully the baby will actually survive and be okay. But it's very, very, very interesting, and it was. I saw it on D.L. Hughley's Instagram page. So if you go to D.L. Hughley's Instagram page, you could see the actual video. But there was a young brother who was, narrating the video. He was the one going live on this video, and he was quite entertaining, right? Because he was being himself. He like, look, folks, we found a baby, folks. No, and so he talking to somebody
outside. This is a real live baby, folks.
The baby brand new. This bitch brand new.
This bitch brand new. Talk about a baby. This bitch brand new.
Folks, this bitch brand new. I said, this mog is crazy. Then he tried to negotiate when the police came. He tries to negotiate the clearing of his outstanding warrant. He said, look, I got an outstanding warrant. It's a little petty warrant, man. I just did a good deed. I just saved the baby life. Can y'all get rid of that warrant for me? And the officer's like, man, that ain't really how it worked, bro. Like, it don't really work like that. He was like, well, check it out then. If you see me riding through the hood, man, just remember my face and give me a pass. The officer's like, I'll give you a pass on one. So,
but that is kind of how it works, ain't it? I mean, you do considering what you consider a good deed, right? So when you go, when you think about the hood specifically, like the narrative, what's my man's name, the rapper with all the colors in his hair?
All of them these days.
Tekashi
6ix9ine. Okay.
Right? In reference, his good deed was snitching on other people who was involved in the shit he was involved in. And they gave him what? A lesser sentence, right? So that's really how this shit does work.
Yeah, but that's kind of different though.
How's it different?
Because he snitched on some people who were involved in the same illegal shit he was involved in.
But if you snitch
dude
on anybody,
trying to leverage his
snitch
good
on
deed.
anybody who's involved in some bad deeds, it helps you in the courtroom. That's how the game plays out.
But dude is leveraging just a pure good deed. Like, I saved a baby's life.
How it got to you, it don't matter how it got to you. If you can leverage the shit, you leverage the shit. Now, I'm not saying I'm with that kind of community,
I know what
but
you're
it
saying.
is how the game plays out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely dig it. Listen, we are up against our first break. When we come back, we're going to get into the fact that Andrew Gillum has decided to join the Alphabet Gang. We're going to have that conversation and more when we come back. This is I Said What I Said. Herb and 2 here with you until 3 o'clock.
Join the gang.
WIFTBPM. Biggest threat to Illinois citizens from Washington is health care costs and policies. Senior citizens have their Social Security reduced from Medicaid, and some of our senior citizens live off $3 a week for food allowance. Working families are facing bankruptcy over policy and limit and cost. Drug prices require decision between food and Medicaid. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Vote for me and send me to Washington. God bless.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, or you can find them online at solobeauty.com.
Is it really a good idea to have the same senator for 3 generations? I support term limit for all elected officials. Our senators need to bring home growth for our business community, jobs, housing, service for our senior citizens, and health care. We need new ideas and new approach to federal representation. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Vote for me and send me to Washington, D.C. God bless.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
WIFTBPM. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you've ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And we are back. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner here with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Thank you so much for choosing to tune in and be a part of this conversation. It means the world to us that you chose to be here and join this conversation. If you want to leave your comments, feel free to do so right on the page. We'll read through as many of them as possible as we go through. Again, this is I Said What I Said. Thank you all so very, very much for being here. If you haven't already done so, please take a quick moment to share the conversation. Share it on your personal page. Share it even within your personal network. The more people that we can get tuned into this conversation, we feel like the better opportunity we have of reaching the optimum solutions for overcoming many of the issues that we had in our community. I want to say thank you to DS Sanders for supporting the show by clicking on those gold stars. If you would like to support the show that way as well, you can do so by clicking on the gold stars in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Marvin Bell, we certainly appreciate the stars. Carmen, we appreciate you clicking on those gold stars. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to Tiger. Tiger is absolutely a Is-Wiz OG, and she came through with the name of the show I was thinking of. It's called Suits. All right, super good show. I really enjoyed it. It's called Suits, but the dude had like photographic memory. Anything he put his eyes on, he instantly committed to memory and could regurgitate it verbatim.
Well, they stole that from Robert Townsend.
Well, they stole everything from us.
Absolutely who Meteor Man was.
Baby Lords.
Baby Lords.
That's my favorite part of the movie. Like, I can't.
Baby Lords.
I can't even think of the movie without saying Baby Lords. Like that's my favorite part of the actual movie. Also, y'all are absolutely clowning in the comments talking about this bitch brand new and Nicole Rogers talking about gang gang. Nicole Rogers also another Is-Wiz OG. Thanks for checking in, Nicole. Appreciate seeing you in here as usual. Wow. 2, your boy.
Why gotta be my boy?
hey, similar lifestyles. Your boy, Andrew Gillum, former gubernatorial candidate of the state of Florida. And at some point, he was viewed to be ascending in the Democratic Party as maybe the next golden child to be in line to become president of the United States. I don't know how that still stands with him right now, but he did an interview in which he acknowledged that he identifies as being bisexual. Now, personally, I don't really see a particular problem with that, right? It's perfectly fine. Right, you can sleep with whoever you want, you can live whatever lifestyle you want, but the conversation that we find relevant in here is the fact that how he's going to leverage that, how he finds the humanity in that piece, even more so than being a black man. But if I'm a black bisexual man, then there's more for me to tap into there. So I think that part of the conversation is quite interesting.
So I'm a read an excerpt, and I think this comes from the Floridian Politics article. And it talks about the Tamron Hall show. It says Hall devoted a full hour of the season premiere of the Tamron Hall show to the interview with Gillum and his wife, R.J. Gillum. She asked Gillum in the interview if he still envisioned running for office. Would it be hard? Absolutely, Gillum said. But Donald Trump is president. He suggested if many politicians could hold office despite making scandalous assertions about their own sex lives while completely sober, he may have a comeback from the Miami incident. Now, let's be clear, like for people who just started listening or might not be very clear about the Miami incident, Andrew Gillum was caught in a Miami hotel where he said he was suffering from a drug overdose, I think it was, or alcohol. He had alcohol poisoning or something, but either way, some pictures got leaked with him and a male escort in a Miami hotel. Now, the backstory to that is he was going to Florida to what do they call that when you overseeing a wedding, like when you officiate a marriage. And he had left his wife, and his wife was supposed to meet him there, like, a few days later. And in turn had some kind of relations. Well, not even some relations, because he hasn't really admitted to that. He said he doesn't even know what happened after he blacked out behind the alcohol. He doesn't know what happened.
Which is that's a real thing. I'm drinking myself into not remembering.
A stupor with a male and be naked?
No, that's not what I said I've done.
I can see it. You live an interesting life. I'm just saying I need clarity. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying that I have consumed enough alcohol in a given night to some parts of the night are not memorable for me the next day.
Alvin said a bussy overdose. This is too much for me. This lingo is way too much for me.
Y'all are hilarious.
This lingo is way too much to me. But what was interesting about this to me is, and I don't really got no judgment about what Andrew Gillum does in his personal life. I could care less. But I think it's interesting that he made the comparison to Donald Trump. And I think it's a false comparison. And I think it's a false comparison because the very nature of Trump's existence is based in masculinity and bravado.
Absolutely.
Whether you agree with it or not, that's kind of what it is.
Oh, he let his nuts hang.
Yeah, it's like, fuck y'all, I'm going to do what I want to do. And there's a large portion of our community of America that says, that's the guy I want to rock with. Right now, interestingly enough, that's a behavior that's kind of heralded in the white community. You know what I mean? We talked about this last week. Even in our relationship context show about how black men don't really get to feel or even achieve a sincere level of masculinity because the very nature of masculinity
requires
from our perspective requires us to kind of tone down that energy, right? You got to kind of capitulate to become successful.
You must.
Well, Trump could say, I'm going to grab him by the pussy and still be heralded by even white women for that matter. Right? When you think about who elected him, it was white women. Right? So Andrew Gillum gets caught with a guy in an entanglement, you know what I mean? And he can come out and say, hey, well, I'm not gay, because this is what he said. I'm not gay.
Right.
I'm bisexual. Now, for me, the context of that statement is way over my head. I can't.
Sure.
I don't understand that shit.
Sure.
That's beyond my scope, right? But what is not beyond my scope is the part of that capitulating behavior set that's always acceptable from us. You know what I mean? And we don't really fully grasp the concept of what it means to be masculine, because we are kind of what's the word I want? We kind of raised or geared toward or assimilated toward a culture toward this kind of demure kind of personality and behavior.
Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting that he would juxtapose his mishaps to Trump's mishaps and how they would have or be able to reap the same kind of rewards even though he's lived that kind of way. First of all, you're in Florida, fam. That ain't really the blackest place in America, right? It ain't happening.
Right.
It ain't fucking happening.
Right.
And there's not enough black people to carry you over the hump.
No.
that will accept that kind of behavior from you.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even saying your sexuality is an issue, because it's not for me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, nah.
But I want us to understand
the
the clear, definitive of difference.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want us to fully grasp that, what the difference is and how the world operates differently from even just the lenses that we operate from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was just an interesting juxtaposition. Like, he compared himself to Trump. Nah, my nigga.
That's the opposite end.
That's the very opposite end of the spectrum.
No pun intended. The opposite
That
end.
is opposite end, right? Pun intended. It's the very opposite end. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
rewards versus, or who values that, is going to be absolutely different.
No, it's absolutely going to be different. I think that he understands that. His camp understands that. And I think they're trying to leverage anything they can to try and return him back to the ascending status that he had reached prior to, or even coming out of, the gubernatorial election that happened down in Florida. I think they're trying to figure out how can we leverage either this story or any other story to get him back into that position where he can become the ascendant, black, gay, whatever, financial, whatever. He's going to try and find his way back into it. And if he says, okay, well, I'm bisexual, right? Okay, fine, cool, right? And then he has his wife there with him, right? Then that makes it acceptable, right? So now it's been accepted in his particular marriage. It's not outside the parameters of his relationship. If she accepts it, y'all should accept it. Everybody move on. My thing is, if that's how you feel about it, right? If you really feel like it's my life, I'm gonna do my own thing, my wife cool with it, I'm rocking, then what the fuck is the interview for? You know what I'm saying? Like what are you responding to it for? If that's how you feel, then why are people's opinions about it, right, bothering you, right? They tease me on here about my particular lifestyle choice all the time. It doesn't bother me, right? That's not something I feel like I need to respond to. I need to, like, hey, let me make this okay. Like, it don't have to be okay with you.
But
right?
in the same vein of people teasing you on here because of your lifestyle choices, you kind of in this position where you got a camera and a mic in your face, you kind of become a public kind of person.
Right, and I'm welcome to allowing, you know, the entire I Say What I Said family to know me, right? Like we family, we talk, we sit here all the time. I'm cool with y'all knowing me, right? But y'all gonna know me as who I am. It's not like I'm trying to get y'all to accept me for some other thing where I need to explain it. Like I'll share whatever I want to share, and then the response can be whatever the response is. But I don't feel like I need to. No, now I got to sit down and have an interview and explain this to somebody. I don't got to explain shit. I said what I said. I just let y'all know. That's all.
Well, when you open yourself to public conversations, you open yourself up to public critiques,
sure.
Right? And we got to understand the very difference between opposition versus his position, right? Well, I don't even know if it's really that different, right? So, in a lot of ways, it's the public opinion of him that allows him to make a profit. It is what it is, right?
Absolutely.
So, in that vein, your public opinion or your public appearance matters, right? Because that's how you make profit. You know what I mean? And the very nature. So I'm looking at the comments while we're having this conversation, and there's a lot of people saying his wife is a different breed of woman. I want to argue that point as well. And I'm going to say that in the sense that Andrew Gillum is a very high-paid public figure. Is she really different, or she just negotiated for a different price? These are the kind of conversations we need to be having. Is she different? No, she's not different, because the argument that we've been making on the Relationship Fridays, even though it's centered in a relationship conversation, is that
it's very transactional.
The very nature of being human in this particular dynamic is that everything is negotiable, right? Ain't no such thing as morality. If morality is contingent on what's the price, morality doesn't exist. Right. And when we think about politics from the standpoint of what the very nature or what the design of politics is supposed to be, there is a moral context behind electing politicians. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I'm not saying your sexual choice is a moral choice, right?
No.
I'm not condemning your sexual behavior.
Do your thing.
Based in your morality, your moral understanding. But your deviancy of cheating on your wife, but your deviancy of getting so high, drunk, whatever it was that you passed the fuck out, your deviancy of lying to whoever you're lying to.
That's on the table.
That is on the table.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is on the table.
Yeah.
And if you are in that position, then you kind of got to correct that shit.
Yeah, that's
at least come to grips with it.
That's fair game. And so you have to come to grips with it if what you're trying to do is sell yourself as this public figure. If you're trying to remain in the running for these public offices and you think you need to be accepted by the masses in this way, then yeah, you need to go ahead and explain yourself. Other than that, I don't really think you got to explain shit. Other than that, I think you can just go ahead and live your life. But because you want all these people to then come and vote for you, right? And hail you as this great leader and they're a representative of them, then you have to make it right with them, right? And that's where I was trying to draw the distinction between, you know, him saying what he said, me saying what I said. Like I'm not trying to make anything right with anybody, right? I don't really care like that, right? You know what I'm saying? I just pulled the curtain back. So
but
you
you
can see
also
something.
aren't Andrew Gillum.
I'm not Andrew Gillum.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So he could let that go, right? He could let the Andrew Gillum go and just be who the fuck he is. But because he can't let I'm Andrew Gillum go, then now I have to find a way to make this right with other people.
Yeah, and I wonder who that's going to work for. What's making it right look like, right? Even with the conversation of saying I'm not gay, I'm bisexual. Does that shit make it right even with the homosexual community? Because what the fuck does that mean?
It means he's attracted to men and women.
So if you're
sexually,
so if you're sexually engaged with men, I don't care if you got women too. You gay, right? That's part of the conversation.
Listen, I don't have the alphabet dictionary.
I don't
really,
either. But what I'm saying is, you just said he got to make it right. So
Yeah.
who's he making it right to? What's that look like, right? For me personally, this is another conversation. I know it's kind of off-brand in regards to like the sexual connotation of this Andrew Gillum conversation, but when we start talking about Andrew Gillum, when we start talking about Stacey Abrams, when we start talking about these up-and-coming black electorates, right, we kind of hailed them as the second coming of Barack. I got a problem with that. One, because Barack, in my personal opinion, was the Antichrist in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? He just wasn't good for our community, right? But secondly, they're losing, right? They're losing in their home states. Right? What makes us value them at a capacity to say they are the next guys when they can't even win their states? It's like, what do you have to do to prove yourself as valid in the conversation? Just show up. I mean, this is like the youth sports world where everybody gets a trophy and you don't win shit. Sometimes in that transactional behavior, right? If you win some shit, that's valid. That's like saying Mike and LeBron is the same kind of player, and then you say, well, Mike got XYZ amount of championships, and they were like, that don't matter. But the fuck you mean?
Champions matter. What you talking about? Check the record.
Check the record. What the fuck you mean it don't matter? It always matters.
We ain't putting no motherfucking LeBron James shoe on the wall.
You understand? It's just a question I have. Like, why do they get heralded in such a capacity?
I'll tell you why, right? People will try to sell you on that kind of bullshit if they do not value your level of intellect or your level of understanding, right? So if I value your level of understanding about basketball and what it actually means, then I can sell you on this LeBron over Jordan shit, right? Same thing in the politics. If I don't really value how you go about this process, then I can sell you on anything. All I have to do is make you think that he's cool, right? I have to sell you on him, right? Now, he don't really have to be, like, the substance doesn't really have to be there. He ain't never won shit, right? But that don't really matter. We're going to hail him as somebody who should be lifted up that way. He looks like this. He's this kind of cool. He's this kind of smart. Lift him up that way. And if we can paint him as cool to you, history tells us that you'll vote for him. Substance be damned. All we have to do is paint him as cool, and y'all last a rock. If he can play if he can play the fucking the saxophone, he's cool. If he's next to Barack Obama, then he's Uncle Joe. Like, we don't really have to. He don't really have to be about shit. We just have to paint him as cool, and y'all dumbasses will vote for him. That's how they sell that shit. We gotta take a break. When we come back from break, we'll continue this conversation. We'll read through some of your comments. We'll get into the conversation about how Latino voters down in Florida also are leveraging their position to say, look, man, you got to come see us if you want to vote for us. If you want us to vote for you, you must come see us. You can't sell us on a bill of goods that he's cool. Fuck how cool he is. What you got for me? This is I Said What I Said. Herb and Sue here with you at 3 o'clock. We'll be right back after this.
WIFTBPM. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Tax burden up the average middle class American goes way beyond income taxes. There are sales taxes, real estate taxes, gasoline taxes, and many, many more. As an international businessman, I know that by reducing the billions of dollars we give to other countries, we could help fund our own country. We need to rethink our tax laws and lower the taxes for our own citizens.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
You can expect the unexpected.
We're getting pushed up to 200. Let's get these numbers up, people. Come on. We're trying to compete with Mays Jackson numbers, right?
Don't forget,
we're lacking right now.
If you share it,
share the video so we can get our numbers. For God's sake, we're nowhere near Mays Jackson numbers. If we can get you guys to share, we can at least push 200 in the next 3 minutes. All right? By 3:45, I want us to be at 200.
Oh, yeah. This is the black portion of What's In It for the Black People Radio
that we
right
can
here.
do the
This
time.
is the black portion, the blackest portion of the show.
It's What's In It for the Black People Media.
Chicago famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You can hang out with Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz 3 to 6 p.m. right here on What's in It for the Black People Media, live on the Mace Jackson page. So shout out to Chicago famous. They did their thing. They did a phenomenal job. Those brothers, listen, radio legends, right? And you come in and you used to doing things one way and trying to flip it and do it another way. They handled it seamlessly, man. So shout out to Mike Love and Diz for holding it down as they always have done. Welcome to the What's in It for the Black People Media family. Good luck at achieving number 2 status for the second best show on What's in It for the Black People Media, because number 1 is and always will be I Said What I Said.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
Whenever I play, I want to play to win. I don't see no purpose in playing.
You play to win the game.
What's the word?
In the famous
Can
words
you
of
beat
Herman.
my ass, though?
Can you whoop my ass, though?
It's really that simple. I don't plan on getting my ass whooped.
Hey, yo, wait a minute. Hey.
Chicago famous
Mike
ain't gonna whoop
can't
my ass.
and Chicago
We not
famous
here for
can't
no
whoop.
ass whooping.
Hey, yo, what's your problem, man? Y'all are brothers. You ain't supposed to be fighting each other.
We not here for no ass whooping.
That's not what we here for.
We're not here for no ass
It's
whooping.
not what we here for.
Not at all.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Tucson Warner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Tucson Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
What is happening, good people? Welcome back. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Herb Howard and Tucson Warner here with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Thank you all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We can't express how appreciative we are for you being here. Thank you for sharing. If you have not done so, please share the page on your personal page if you will take the time to do so. Also, if you want to contribute to the show, you can do so by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We certainly appreciate each and every one of those. So thank you so much for being here too.
What am?
The numbers came back from last week's What's in It for the Black People Media shows.
The ratings.
The ratings came back from all of last week's shows. All of the programs on last week's shows. The ratings are in.
And what do we do, Herb? What do we do? What does the champions do?
Listen, man, winners win. That's just kind of what we do. So the top 3 shows from all of last week, Monday through Friday, 6 to 6. Top 3 shows were Chicago Famous, shout out Mike Love and Diz, on their premiere debut show.
So we're gonna give respect where respect is due.
Yeah,
they won.
They won after everybody at What's in It for the Black People Media
promoted their shows all week long.
They premiered.
Pumped them for like a month.
We had a big ass cookout outside.
We had a cookout for them.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything was going down. So they came through with number 1. They had D-Ray Davis, Chicago
had D-Ray
legend in here.
They had my other young brother.
Cootie was that the same show?
But not Cootie. I'm talking about the dark skinned brother who does the internet shows here.
Oh, corporate is today.
Corporate.
Oh, corporate.
Yeah, so tune in today.
Corporate is today. Well, they was promoting corporate.
Okay, shout out to him, man. He do his thing on those YouTube videos, man. I like him. I like him a lot.
I like corporate too.
Yeah,
say less.
Say less.
Instantly, he be like instantly.
I love the narration.
I love dude. He dope.
So
he
she
dope.
was a baddie.
Yeah, I rock with dude. So it be like instantly. Jay down on
instantly. Instantly.
I like him. I like him a lot. So shout out to him. But anyway, they do all of that, right?
Yeah, you know, all the gimmicks.
All of the radio rookie. Shout out to Big Sis Dawn. She come through with Dana Dane.
Don did come through with Dana Dane.
You know
she got Lisa E as a producer.
Lisa E.
So they can talk to anybody in the world.
Because Lisa E got them on speed dial.
That's true. That's true.
So?
Yet and still, other than the premiere of Chicago Famous radio legends Mike Love and Diz, other than that,
what happened,
I
Herb?
said what I said had the highest rated show.
Why do you think that happened, Herb?
Because we're cooler than everybody else we just named.
We're the most interesting people in the world.
That's just a fact.
We're Dos Equis. That's true. We are the most interesting people.
We are the Dos Equis. Man. We cooler than D-Ray. We cooler than Dana Dane. You know what I'm saying? None of those things were able to top us. And just for shits and giggles, I believe that in third place, in a solid third, was the Mace Jackson show. I don't know from which day.
Everybody clap it up for Mace, man. We so proud of that third for him. Shout out to Mace for getting that third place trophy, baby.
Third place.
You look good in bronze, baby. You look good in bronze.
Look at you, man. Listen, everybody gets a participation trophy. It's all good. It's all good. See, the cussing works, D.S. Sanders. You're absolutely right. Fuck them people. Listen, man, thank y'all so much for rocking with everybody on I Said What I Said. Shout out to Salim, because Salim just put up some numbers on his debut show. I'm interested to see how his ratings come in by the end of the week as well. Definitely looking forward to that. But
so I listened to Salim earlier. I know we're going to go through this other topic, but I listened to Salim earlier, and sometimes Salim's diction and his vocabulary are so deep that even I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah. So today he said a word, and I don't know if I still have it. I looked this shit up. I had to look this word up.
Had to.
It was called the Cathedral. I can't even pronounce this shit. What you call me?
Right. Don't curse at me, fam.
I can't even pronounce the shit. So I went to the definition, and after I read the definition, I had to look up words inside of the definition to get what the fuck the word meant. Like, this is too fucking much, Salim.
No, Salim
this is a fucking job just to listen.
Salim is different, man. He has the most astute listening audience in radio. They do their thing. They say things that so one time, Salim invited me to be on his show. I sat there and we talked for about 3 hours or something like that. Maybe I don't know if I stayed the whole show. Maybe I did for like 2 hours. But in the middle of the conversation, Salim dropped something to you, and he's expecting me to respond. I'm like, Salim, I don't even know what you just said, sir. Like I think I'm reasonably intelligent. I am not Salim level intelligent. That's a different kind of level, and he's so damn smooth too. He be smooth. He's one of the smoothest dudes I ever met in my life.
Swear to God, he remind me of my daddy.
I've never introduced Salim to my mama.
He's like the second coming of my father. I swear to God. It's amazing just sitting there listening to him and talking to him, because I swear to God, I feel like I'm talking to Eric Werner Sr. It's some next level shit.
And he is the Black Forrest Gump. He's been a part of everything that's ever happened. Anything of significance historically, Salim was there. In America, in Germany, in wherever, Salim had a hand in it. And that's real shit. Anyway, man, y'all make sure y'all tune in to Muwak Hill's World Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. too. We got about a break in about 3 or 4 minutes, so I don't want to go too deep into this new topic just yet. But you talk about Andrew Gilliam and how he's trying to leverage his sexuality, or at least explain his sexuality so that it doesn't become a hindrance to his upward mobility politically. Mm-hmm. And then how he's trying to leverage that, and then you look at how the LGBTQ community moves and how they've been able to come up with their identity. They've been able to be fluid with their identity, as well as their sexuality, obviously, but be fluid with their identity and say, okay, well, we identify a new subset of our group. We add another letter to it, right? Because we're still a singular identity. And so when we have an issue that we want to speak on or we want to demonstrate about, we can show up in mass and we can deliver sufficient enough consequences to be able to ensure that we get the outcomes that we want. The Latino community down in Florida is doing the same thing, right? They're like, look, if you're not coming with something that we deem valuable, we are not rocking with you, right? We will vote for Donald Trump, or we will at least not vote for Joe Biden, which many people would tell you is a vote for Donald Trump. We tend to disagree with that particular thinking, although I understand what they're trying to say. The interesting thing is when you hear the Latino voters, right? Mm-hmm. Instantly people start thinking about how they're going to vote for Trump. He want to build a wall. He want to keep the Mexicans out. Well, first of all, the Latino community isn't all Mexicans. But
see, even before you go any further, I want to stop you, right? When you say I understand what they're trying to say, we got to stop doing that.
But I do, though.
But see, I do too. But it's still validating ignorance, right? So what the Latino voters are doing, and the same thing that the LGBTQ voters are doing, is they have a very matured understanding of how politics works. We, on the other hand, don't. We have a very immature understanding of how politics works. So what we do is we get captivated by a person's personality and disregard everything else, right? It's very respectability politics, right? This motherfucker I could have a beer with, or this motherfucker was standing next to Obama.
Right.
You don't even know Obama's policy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
This motherfucker wore a brown suit on Easter. All that shit has no bearing on whether or not my child is going to grow up in a school that's going to teach his ass how to read. Right. All that shit has no bearing on the fact that our median net worth in this country is $1,700. All of that shit has no bearing on the future of our communities. But we are making life choices based on very surface level, superficial shit. And then when someone comes around with some intellect and challenges those decisions because of our ignorance, we fight back. We push back.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking
because
about.
It's emotional.
You're outcasted. Like, to this day.
I feel.
During Obama's presidency, right? The vast majority of what little bit of black wealth was in our communities was lost. Yeah. That's just fact. Truth. That's fact. Truth. And when that shit happened, Obama responded to our bailing out the banks and the corporations. Truth. That shit is fact. We also come into the conversation where we say, you know, he was the president of all black people. What do you expect him to do? Or he lost in the second term, he lost the House and the Senate or whatever however the breakdown was. I don't remember specifically, right? But the truth be told, DACA's an executive order, right? So don't tell me what he can't fucking do when he was doing shit for other people. But none of us pay that shit no attention, right? So we come to the conversation with this, well, I like that man. And that ain't good enough.
Yeah,
it just ain't good enough, right?
Who cares?
And not taking nothing from Obama, right? From a visual standpoint, he was fucking great. Mm-hmm. My children grew up in an America where they saw a black president. Yeah. That's so valuable to me.
There's power in the imagery.
We cannot deny the fact that he's an awesome orator. That's valuable to me. Mm-hmm. And that's valuable for the outcomes that my children will eventually aspire to. That's valuable, right? But when you start talking about substance, we got BAM out of the Obama administration. You know what I'm saying? Becoming a man, right? And if you really get to the core of who BAM is too, even though it's a program that's aided in mentoring black boys, it's a program, if you get to the core of that program, that was stolen from ideas of smaller black organizations and led to or fed to the presidential cabinet by a Hispanic brother. Not knocking them, but that still doesn't feed us. Right, it doesn't change our economic position. Even the mentoring process of that shit is just, you know, how many mentoring programs are in the community they could have funded that specifically brought back rewards to our community. That shit is bullshit. Right. So Joe standing next to him, that don't make him my uncle. No, it makes him a co-conspirator. It's some bullshit.
Right. It doesn't make Joe cool. It makes Brock uncool.
Yeah, and then you're just a co-defendant at this point.
I get it. Are you a co-conspirator in the demise of the black community in many, many aspects? That is Tucson Warner. He said what he said. My name is Herb. We'll be right back after this.
WIFTVPM. Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, or you can find them online at solobeauty.com.
This secure moment is brought to you by Secure Home and Automation, your premier authorized Bring security dealer. Home invasions occur every 23 seconds, fire every 85 seconds, and medical emergencies occur suddenly. In times like these, get secured home and automation and an affordable wireless home alarm system with professional monitoring. This includes fast emergencies response, free security analysis, free equipment, and free installation. A limited time offer, be proactive. Call today, don't delay. 708-251-5069. That's 708-251-5069. Call now, 708-251-5069, or visit our website, securehomeandautomation.com. Secure Home and Automation, where your life safety is our priority. It brings authorized dealer, certain restrictions apply.
Boys, step aside. The Radio Rookie is in the building. The Book of Dawn, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on What's In It for the Black People Media.
We fun guy. Where's tomorrow? Fun guy, what's up, baby? What it do, baby? Yeah, yo, what do you know? You know what I'm saying? So I'll be telling you.
What's going on, Chicago? What's In It for the Black People Media presents.
I want to go higher. Oh, my God.
Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
The Big Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. We got what you need right here on What's In It for the Black People Media.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. In my life, I've gone from cotton field to corporate boardroom. I've seen great success and walked many roads. I know how it feels not to have. I'm asking you to vote for me for U.S. Senate for the state of Illinois. I can do the work that few others may understand. A vote for me is a step in the right direction for our state and our country.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
WIFTVPN. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And we are back live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. Herb Howard, Toussaint Werner. This is I Said What I Said each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We get together right here with you wonderful people and discuss issues that are impacting the black community and try to come up with some strategies for how we can overcome many of the obstacles that we face, overcome them as individuals, but more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank you so very, very much for choosing to be here. Y'all see how two hair just getting longer and longer? At first he was just fucking around with these braids. Now he really starting to like these shits.
Wait a minute.
You see him? He got his little baby hairs laid down. And
Tony
shit now.
Draper around his boy. You understand me?
He got his little
Draping.
He got his little baby hairs laid down and shit. You must have went to Solo Beauty and copped some little supplies.
Yeah, I got the Solo Beauty edition via Bella Werner. You know what I'm saying? Bella be playing my edgy. She gave me the Sealy braids today, but I'm still gonna rock them out.
You told Harpo to beat me.
That's right. The parts is crooked and everything, but I love my baby girl, so I'm gonna promote it.
That's
you understand
okay.
what I'm
I'm not done with the baby hairs yet though.
Okay,
I'm
we'll
not
get to
done.
the baby hairs.
I'm not done with the baby hairs.
Man, because I got edges.
Being all right. being all laid down like that.
Hey, what's funny though? This
is
funny. This is really funny for real though, right? This is new. This ain't something not planned, right? The only reason my hair is long is because we went through Corona, right? And I have some respiratory problems in real life, so I was not going to nothing.
Right.
Because you say don't go to the barbershop. I ain't fuck with the barbershop because I've been in the hospital for you finna die based off you can't breathe before.
You don't need another nigga breathing in your face.
I don't want none of them
like
fucking
this.
problems. You understand me? I've been there.
Be right here on your shit.
Legit, this is a true story, G. My lungs collapsed twice, first round, right? But the second time it collapsed, they did some shit where they fused my lung to my rib cage, right?
Oh wow!
And when you start talking about
to like
pain,
hold it up so it wouldn't.
Oh yeah, G, it's like a Brillo pad that they take inside of your chest and scrub your shit so that it scabs up and heals via the wound to the side of your rib cage, so it'll stay inflated, right? When you talk about pain, my nigga,
marvels of modern medicine.
When you talk about pain, though, right? Understand they had a tube inserted in between my rib cage for like a week, right? So this is a true story. They was telling me I can go home after XYZ day or whatever, right? XYZ day came and went. So you can set your mind up for some shit like I can deal with this pain until
for a few days.
XYZ day. You create this kind of paradigm in your mind when you
gotta
deal with it.
this. Right.
Man, when that day came and passed and they ain't let my ass go home.
That's excruciating.
Oh, I was talking cash shit in that hospital. I was ready to whoop everybody ass. Fam, you gonna pull this shit out my side or I'm fucking everybody up.
But you couldn't.
Period. Oh no. If it wasn't for my wife, somebody would have caught the ass whoop. Like I was pulling that shit out and everything. Like, fuck y'all, I'm good. I read it was so painful. Damn. So for me to take on them kind of risk, whether you know them COVID conspirators or whatever, I ain't fucking
irresponsible
with. Yeah, I'm not. That's very irresponsible.
Negligent.
Yeah, it's negligent for real. So even the hair shit is this is just since COVID. This ain't my regular shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you might have stumbled upon something, man. It's not a bad look for you, man. If you guys want to take care of all of your hair care
first
needs,
of all,
you need to go
nothing
to
is a bad look for me.
Beauty
I'm extremely
Supply.
handsome. Let's get that clear. First off, you know.
I mean,
obviously,
you know the foundation.
You know what I'm
there.
saying? There's
you
a
can't turn it
foundation
off.
there of
You just can't
handsomeness.
turn
You
it
know
off.
what I'm saying? Shout out to my parents for having a great mixture. You understand what I mean?
Shout out to your parents, man. Shout out to your parents, man. If you want to take care of all of your black hair care needs, you can head over to Solo Beauty Supply. It's at 8158 South Cottage Grove. 8158 South Cottage Grove. They will treat you with respect. They will appreciate your business. They will value you. It will be a pleasant experience. Solo Beauty, 8158 South Cottage Grove. If you are still uncomfortable with going into the stores, which is very understandable, you can visit them online at solobeautysupply.com. www.solobeautysupply.com. Listen, shout out to the Bigs, man. I'm interested to see what they got to say tomorrow about the Bears game. The Bears had their first game. They were able to pull out a victory in the fourth quarter. They snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter and were able to defeat the Detroit Lions after they looked pretty lifeless and offensively anemic for 3/4 of the game. They scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and won on their last drive and were able to hold off the Detroit Lions from scoring on their last drive for the win. So interesting to see what the Bigs got to say about it. Tune in to the Bigs tomorrow, every Tuesday and Thursday.
So did the Bears win or
3
did the
p.m.
Detroit Lions lose?
Hey man, sometimes sometimes it's like that, right? Sometimes a team can lose a game, and sometimes others can win the game. I think there's a little bit of balance in what happened yesterday because the Detroit Lions kind of took their foot off the gas, and they weren't able to sustain their drives later in the game. But the Bears were able to put some things together. They were able to get some stops. They got a timely turnover by Kyle Fuller, who was one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the National Football League. He had a very timely interception after another phenomenal play by Eddie Jackson, who very well may be the best safety in the National Football League. Tipped the ball up in the air. Kyle Fuller got a pick, and the Bears went down through a touchdown pass to Anthony Miller, and were able to get the win. So shout out to the Bears and shout out to the Bigs. I can't wait to hear what they got to say about it tomorrow.
I definitely want to hear what the Bigs got to say. I was on you the other day for watching the football game, right? But last year, Thanksgiving, like I spend Thanksgiving either in Detroit or Chicago. It's off, switch it up every year, right? And last year, a cousin of mine came in from somewhere in Texas, and they had bought us all tickets to the Lions game, and I felt like an asshole if I didn't go because I didn't pay for the tickets. Right. Even though I was kind of like, fuck football in general. Sure. But being at the Detroit Stadium, it was like Detroit is the worst team in NFL history at this point. And I don't want to say in NFL history, but definitely in the NFL at this present time. And I was amazed at how empty that stadium was, right? And then I watched how the magic of television. Because they aired the game later that day, and I'm looking at the crowd, and I'm in the crowd. Right. So I know ain't nobody in this motherfucker. You can see it wherever you want to sit at that motherfucker, right? Yeah. Put it in perspective, they start throwing shit to the crowd, gifts. Everybody could get some shit because there's nobody there. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, legitimately. But when you look at it on TV, it looks like a full stadium. And that goes back to, I know we're going to move into the social dilemma. Yeah. We also moving into the conversation with the Hispanics saying no to Biden. And I think that's an interesting transition about the magic of media and how it positions certain ideas in your head about what's real and true versus what isn't, right? And how they expect you to respond to that shit, right? Absolutely. They create the camera trick for the audience looking full in Detroit because they want you to think people are supporting this shit. So
you can support it.
You support this shit. Right. But it's nobody really there.
All the cool kids are doing it.
All the cool kids are doing it. You know what I mean? That shit is just very interesting to see it in real time.
No, it works, right? It works in most cases, and especially when you talk about politics, right? Everybody's doing it. How could you do the other thing when everybody else is doing this thing? Well, everybody else could very well be walking the wrong fucking way. Did you ever consider that, right? Did you ever consider that all those people could be going the wrong way, and that one person going that way could actually be going the right way? All right, Patah, don't start messing. I can hear you typing already. I'm not talking about you, sir. You are not going the right way. No. No, but in all seriousness, like, I think a lot of times when you talk about at least how we approach, as the black community, how we approach politics, we kind of do it in this kind of, this is what we all should be doing. We all should be going this way. For what reason, right? Just because that's the way we've always gone. Well, that road ain't led us no fucking where. Right? That road ain't led us nowhere. When are we going to try a different road? When are we going to make a motherfucking left on these motherfuckers? Or at least just stop walking, right? And they'll say, hey, why y'all not walking no more? Because, motherfucker, y'all ain't taking us nowhere. I'm not following you anymore. What's in this walk for me? What y'all got for me? And if y'all don't got nothing for me, I'm going to sit my ass down, right? Or I'll fuck around and turn back and walk the other way, right? And so I think that is something that you're seeing the Latino community be able to leverage down in Florida. And I for one, commend them for taking that stance.
One of the things we got to start acknowledging, and this is absolute truth, is that a non-vote is actually a vote. It is a vote. If I decide that this ain't for me, then that's my vote. This ain't for me, right? So here's an article from the Washington Post, and I'm just going to read the first paragraph. It says, top Latino Democrats are voicing growing concerns about Joe Biden's campaign, warning that lackluster efforts to win the support of their community could have devastating consequences in November. Let me slow that shit down, because that's one or two sentences, but it's so fucking very important, right? Top Latino Democrats. Right. Top Latino Democrats mean these motherfuckers matter. Right? These are the influencers in the party for our population. Right? Have concerns about Joe Biden's campaign, warning that his lackluster efforts to win support of their community could have devastating consequences come November. If you don't start fucking with us,
we threatening you.
Fuck you, chump.
I got influence. I'm a top Latino politician. I have influence and power here. I am concerned about what you're doing, and I'm warning you that if you don't come with more shit for us, we not fucking with you. I love it.
So look, Gino said this in the comments, and shout out to Gene from the Bigs. Hey. Gino said that we need to have a conversation about the conversation that we had with Kamala Harris last week.
Big facts.
Right? So shout out to Maze too. I don't even know if Maze talked about this in depthly. You know, he brought it up earlier this morning on his show. But last week, Maze put us all in a position over here. What's in it for the Black People Media to sit down in a Zoom call with Kamala Harris. And there were like 5 people that got to ask a question, and we were one of the 5, right? Now, first of all, they denied the original question because that was too fucking black, and they didn't want to hear that shit.
That was too black. Our original question.
What was it?
Our original question was, what is the black male's role in the Democratic Party? And they fought us tooth and nail, like, y'all can't ask that.
Just y'all can't even ask that very simple ass question.
Which to the point you just made about voting, right? Their lack of response, their unwillingness to engage in that is an answer.
That's an answer.
That's an
Fuck
answer.
y'all.
So if you're unwilling to engage in your vote, that is an answer right there. They said fuck you, right? Y'all don't have a role in this shit. And so then we make it very, very simple. What's in it for the black people?
Right. Well, definitely ain't shit in it for black men. Woo. Fuck you all the way and completely. Right. But in that though, it was other context that was interesting in that whole Zoom call too. Right. There might have been, I don't know, maybe a good 100 people on that Zoom call at best, right? And again, like I said, only about 5 of us got to ask a question, right? Now, out of those 5, if you've been on Zoom calls before, if you're in the professional world, you know that when it's your time to talk, the larger camera kind of focuses on you. Well, interestingly enough, out of everybody that got to ask a question, when it was our turn to ask a question, the camera never shifted to us.
No, because we was black as fuck in there.
We was black as fuck, and we really ain't interested in you, right? So going back to the very article about the Floridian Latino community that says there's a warning that lackluster efforts to win the support of our community could have devastating consequences in November elections.
Right.
Here's what we're asking. We're asking for something, and you owe us an answer. Right? When we ask,
we demand something.
When we asked for something, the Democratic Party essentially said, no, we don't want to answer that. Right? Now, here's what's very interesting. When you start thinking about the Joe Biden campaign specifically, his leverage all rest on Kamala Harris' shoulders in regards to our community. Right? We talked that Uncle Joe shit, but we don't really, ain't nobody having a Joe Biden conversation in our community.
Right.
Because if you was having a Joe Biden conversation in our community,
you would know who
couldn't
he is.
validate his ass to nobody.
Exactly.
Because he shitted on our community for the duration of his
political
career. Right? So the entirety of his campaign in regards to our community largely rests on Kamala Harris's shoulders.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And if you dig deep enough into Kamala Harris's political career as well, you'd also recognize that she's kind of shitted on us as well, right? But there's this duplicity that's happening here. This her ability to leverage blackness as a motherfucking outfit. She putting that shit on like breakaway basketball pants, right? Well, I'm a goddamn AKA, and I went to Howard,
and it works.
And it works.
I forgot to tell you this at the top of the show. I got to update my profile, my bio to include actor. Okay. I was in the filming of my first commercial this weekend. I'm a thespian.
Say word.
Yeah, no. So, but anyway, my point. One of the other cast members of the commercial, they was a sister, and she was an AKA, and she had on an AKA pin that said "Vote 2020." And so I just teased her. I said, "You trying to get the people to vote for Trump?" And she, "What? Kamala, AKA?" I'm really just teasing you. I understood exactly what the pin meant as soon as I saw it. Right. But the point is, that type of stuff is being used to be leveraged. Say, okay, let's go that way, right? And I think that we have to be able and willing to demand something and then be ready to deliver a sufficient enough consequence. And those 2 sentences that you read, they say what they wanted, right? We want more effort from you on getting our vote. These lackluster efforts, not sufficient enough. And then I'm going to send you a warning because I'm threatening you right now. I'm letting you know, motherfucker, give us what we want or you ain't getting shit. We have to be willing to stand in that proper polarity as well. When we come back, we are going to move the conversation on, and we got a couple more things we want to talk about. One being, in fact, there was a newborn baby found in the Chicago area hallway that was left. Unfortunately, the baby is okay. And also, I kind of lost my train of thought. What was the other thing? The social dilemma piece?
Yeah.
In the social dilemma piece, the new show on Netflix, how those things are being leveraged to influence your everyday thoughts. This is I Said What I Said, Herb Howard and Tucson Warner here with you to 3 o'clock. We'll be right back after this.
WIFTV PM.
What's up? This is Mike Love.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Diz.
Sounds like Bad Boy Radio.
Yeah, but it's not Bad Boy Radio because we are now Chicago famous, but we are back on the air.
3 to 6, Monday through Friday.
All right, you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody it's going down. Not only will you hear us on air, but you'll be able to see us as well.
What's in it for the Black People Media? Make sure you check us out.
Is it really a good idea to have the same senator for 3 generations? I support term limit for all elected officials. Our senators need to bring home growth for our business community, jobs, housing, service for our senior citizens, and health care. We need new ideas and new approach to federal representation. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Vote for me and send me to Washington, D.C. God bless.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for Senate 2020.
So, D-Ray, I wanted to ask you, so do you have a Bad Boy Radio moment? Do you remember an event that you were at that we were hosting or something we did on the radio that really stayed with you?
Okay. Something y'all did on the radio that stayed with me was letting me get on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's true.
That was my step in the door. It was my opportunity to get into GCI, which I started working, there. You guys got me on Sundays and all that stuff. And it introduced me to doing more characters because I would do characters on your guys' show. I don't even remember what the hell I was doing then, but you guys would just let me go, and that freedom didn't exist nowhere in radio.
Yeah, and it doesn't exist anymore, which is what we're starting to hear and we see when it comes to radio.
Chicago famous. 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIFTBPN. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And we are back live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. Thank y'all so very, very much for being here. We greatly appreciate it. I want to mispronounce a word because
assessing past political positions requires
right. Because Salim commented, and I told Tu was on the computer looking at the other page, and I said, Tu, listen to this comment. Who wrote it? He said, that's Salim for sure, right? No doubt about it. That is absolutely Salim. But he's correct as usual. Assessing past political positions does require a contextual understanding. You have to be able to understand the full picture, right? So you understand the full picture whether you talk about Joe Biden, right? Because we are pretty rough on Joe Biden in terms of his record, right? But to be completely honest with you in terms of adding a little bit of context to the timing of the 94 crime bill, right? There were a lot of people, black people, championing that bill. A lot of black people were like, hey, we need to get these motherfuckers off the corner. They're ruining our community. We need to start a war. We need to amp up this war on drugs, right? And I think that, contextually speaking, it wasn't a tough sell for him at the time because a lot of us were on board with it.
But it's not really. I get it, and I even get Celine's perspective in saying that, right? Yeah. And I get exactly what you're saying right here. Mm-hmm. But it's no different than what's happening with us in regards to like the Kamala Harris conversation that we had privately, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to hear from this sector of your community. And the sector of the community that they do want to hear from, the gatekeepers of the community, don't necessarily associate themselves with the entirety of the whole community, which goes back to the conversation of, in order to kind of excel in America, right, you kind of have to concede your blackness, right? So they become gatekeepers of what, though? Gatekeepers of whiteness? Or gatekeepers of holding us in our same positions? Gatekeepers of what? Mm-hmm. What is their duty or what is their responsibility to us as a community? Yeah. Because all they're doing is, in essence, is holding us away from the opportunities, holding us away from access, and presenting or promoting this bullshit belief system that this respectability or these, what's the word I'm looking for here? These people who have assimilated into great heights. Let's say not ascended to great heights, right? Assimilated into great heights right. is the fucking goal. Love it. And it's not the goal. Even to, what's the young sister that just won the U.S. Open? I can't think of her name.
Osaka.
Shit,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
One of y'all tell us that sister's name.
Right.
Shout out to her too, because she was hella dope throughout the entire U.S. Open. Every day she showed up with a different face mask on with the name of a slain unarmed black person at the hands of law enforcement or racist white folks.
So either way, her boyfriend is the young rap boy, and I don't know his name either. YMB somebody. One of
Young
the young
boy?
rappers. Yes, a young rapper.
No, I'm saying.
No, it's not Young Boy.
Okay.
But the young rapper that she's dating is a conscious young brother.
Okay.
Right? And they have a photo after she won the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
And in the photo, you know, she's wearing her Black Lives Matter mask or whoever name she had on at the specific time. She also had on a Kobe Bryant jersey, right? And they hugged up. This is her boyfriend. They're young kids,
Sure.
right? And he's giving his middle finger to the camera. Right,
Because that's how these shorties pose all the time. I don't get it.
and even if that wasn't the case, when we were shorties, we did similar shit too, right?
I
There's
mostly
pictures
threw
of
the
all
rakes
of
up.
us throwing up some kind of hand sign
Yeah.
somewhere in the history of our goddamn
Absolutely.
photojournals,
Absolutely.
right? But my point is, I'm in the sports group on Facebook, and there was a lot of backlash, like, man, shorty can't be doing that. Shorty can't. That's a bad look for her. That's this, that, and the third. And for me, I completely disagree. And I said, no, what it really is that it's who we really are, right? It's who we should be. We should be brashing in your face and still showing that we could be successful.
We should be able to show
Right?
up
I don't
like
have
that.
to assimilate to what you think
I
our
don't.
response should be.
I don't.
I can be who I want. It is the very nature of the concept of I said what I said.
Right.
Here's some fucking truth, or even if it's not true, here's some opinion. But it's an opinion and I stand by, and if you disagree,
This is
fuck
us.
you. It is what it is.
This is Allen Iverson showing up to the press conference with a do-rag and chains on and Tim's. Like this
And
is,
I can still
this,
be the
This
GOAT.
is us. This is Deion Sanders showing up to draft day with 13 gold chains on, and I'm prime time, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm still the best corner you ever seen in your life.
And you can't stop me.
Right.
Right. It's
Right.
Malcolm X. It's Martin Luther King.
Yes.
I can be black and intelligent. I can be black and brash,
Yes.
right? I told somebody the other day, I got fucking braids in my hair.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But I know that I make money professionally in
Right.
fields that most people don't get a chance
Right.
to go into.
Right.
Right? I can be whoever the hell I want to be.
I have a tattoo on my neck, right? Which is becoming a little bit more commonplace, but very, very recently that shit was not unacceptable. But I still go into those rooms, I show up in those spaces, and I can put on my suit and go
Ryan
anywhere
B.
the fuck I want.
Corday. I'm sorry, that's his name.
Okay.
Corday.
Okay.
I've only
I'm not
heard the
hip
boy
to him.
rap like
Yeah.
one time, but not my cup of tea.
Right,
But
right.
he's not one of those. You know, he's not ignorant at all.
Third place.
Hey, shout out to third place for just coming in to fix the
Come on,
camera.
third place. Hey, wait till the people so maybe you can get up to second place next week, man.
You know he come to talk some shit now.
I was in the car listening to you. I was driving down Michigan Avenue. Thinking to myself as I was driving down Michigan Avenue and they was listing everything. What they didn't say was, I noticed they cut it off because the top 5 shows, right?
Okay, man. Thanks for coming in. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by.
And the sister's name is Naomi Osaka. That's her
Naomi
name.
Osaka. Right. Shout out to her. She's super, super dope, man. I also saw a conversation where people were talking about, oh, she's taking over Serena. Like, it can't be two sisters that's dope as fuck. Like why can't they both be, like, it ain't enough space for both of them to be, you know, super, super raw at tennis, man. So shout out to Naomi Osaka. She is a super, super dope young lady and a phenomenal tennis player. I'm glad that she showed up in her proper polarity. We say this all the time, though, right? We talk about the actual responsibility and it being our literal duty to show up into these rooms and these spaces where very few people like us have access to, and to be ourselves. For us to walk into those spaces and to assimilate to more acceptable culture would be us literally co-signing all of the bullshit that we talk about all the time, right? And so, like you said, when we were when Mays got us set up to be on the Zoom call to interview Kamala Harris, right? We were in that room black as fuck. Gene was in there. He front and center at the head of our table. He in there. He got his head on backwards to the side. I'm in there with a whole blackout hoodie that say "fuck this shit." Like, that's like, we in there black as hell, right? And they like, don't zoom that camera in. It's a lot of niggers in there, and we don't know what's happening, right? Dawn in there. She being Dawn. Dawn is probably the most ghetto person in What's In It for the Black People Media family. Dawn is a goon, a solid goon. She looked the way she looked, and she got this whole baby face thing going on, but she is a thug, right? She is an absolute gangster. So we was in that room in our proper polarity. Listen, I think that's how we have to show up in these spaces. I really think it's our responsibility to be ourselves. Not to say walking ignorant as hell, right? But to be ourselves, absolutely.
So I think we're in a transition in time, though, right? Mm-hmm. There was an interview a long time ago on the Breakfast Club, I think it was, with Jay-Z. And they was asking him questions about Kanye. And he made this kind of analogy statement, this analogous kind of statement. He was like, man, Ye is the dude that's going to run over the hill and take all the arrows to come back and tell y'all that it's cool to run over the hill. Everybody else is waiting on the dude that's gonna run over the hill to take the first round of arrows.
Okay.
Right? I think in a lot of ways, man, we're entering a time where the black community is running over the hill and taking all the arrows. Right? And I think that those arrows are exposing kind of the construct of capitalism in a way that everyone else except for the white populace is left out of this construct. Right, and when you start looking at the numbers, and we could pretend, I heard somebody. I'm not even pretend. I was listening to Maze again earlier this morning, and Maze was talking about, how I grew up middle class, and I said in the comments that no, you grew up poor, right? And that wasn't a knock on Maze's family.
No, we're all varying degrees of poor as black people in this country.
And Tennille responded like, no, we grew up middle class. We had XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. But what I said to Tennille was in context, though, right? If you got $1 and I got $0.25, yeah, you have more than me. Right, but if you have $1 and somebody else has $1,000, you're still in relationship poor, right? And therein lies the difference. Like the wealth disparity in America is so vast, it's so vast that if you're not in this top 10 percentile, you essentially rank as poor. Right, to be in the median in income earned households in the black community, the median, the 50%, the median, right? It's like less than 40 grand, right? And in 2020, if you got less than 40 grand in 2020, how do you survive with a family? You know what I mean? To be in the top 1% of black earners, that number's like 120, right? And 120 ain't shit in context, right? So when you start thinking about the wealth disparity and how much money, it's like 12 people in America that have more money than the entire bottom half
rest of America.
You know what I'm saying? Like 12 people got more money than however many billions of people. You know what I'm saying? Like in context, you poor as shit.
Right.
But what's happening in this time period, the veil of that disparity is being lifted. Hence, you get motherfuckers knocking in the window at Ferragamo and Gucci. We ain't they might be misguided in why, but the reality is this is the response.
Right.
You gonna either give me the shit I desire, or I'm gonna take the shit.
Period.
It goes back to the painting. Eventually, the poor will have nothing left to eat. But the rich.
And that's where we're starting to see. We got to take a break. When we come back, going to delve a little bit deeper into this concept of Social Dilemma, the new show on Netflix, talking about how they're able to really control our thoughts and our thinking on an everyday basis. And then we'll wrap up the show towards the bottom of the hour with a story. We'll play the audio for it because I think Esco was able to pull up the audio from the story we talked about where there was a newborn baby left with the umbilical cord still attached in a Chicago area hallway. The video is both sad and hilariously entertaining at the same time because the young brother who was narrating it was in his fullest proper polarity. My name is Herb Howard. His name is Tucson One. This is I Said What I Said. We'll be right back after this.
WIIFTBPM. Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, or you can find them online at solobeauty.com.
Cootie Simmons, of course. I just knew he was Cootie,
right
from Channel Zero.
I mean, that's how we know him. We just know him as Cootie.
Now let's talk about this joint that you guys recently dropped. You directed the Stephon Marbury documentary, A Kid from Coney Island, that's on Netflix right now.
When they came to us about the project, I was like, Stephon Marbury, I'm thinking Tim Hardaway. I'm like, man, Marcus Liberty. I'm like, Stephon. I
Chicago.
Don't know New York. I don't know Stephon. Right, I'm thinking exactly. I know how to tell the Chicago story good,
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
This secure moment is brought to you by Secure Home and Automation, your premier authorized Bring security dealer. Home invasions occur every 23 seconds, fire every 85 seconds, and medical emergencies occur suddenly. In times like these, get secured home and automation and an affordable wireless home alarm system with professional monitoring. This includes fast emergencies response, free security analysis, free equipment, and free installation. A limited time offer, be proactive. Call today, don't delay. 708-251-5069. That's 708-251-5069. Call now, 708-251-5069, or visit our website, securehomeandautomation.com. Secure Home and Automation, where your life safety is our priority. It brings authorized dealers. Certain restrictions apply.
WIFTBPM. The birthday line is, easily, or the birthday bash, whatever you want to call it.
Our hit record.
That's our hit record.
That's our hit record.
That's our one. That's my girl.
That's my girl by the Temptations.
Like,
no matter where we go, we gotta do that.
Ready to go down? Yes, we are. Come on, who's this on that birthday line?
It's Mandy and Baby.
And how old are you on this day?
I'm 14. I'm 13.
Go ahead. It's your birthday. Go ahead. Definitely let out twins. Where y'all from? Where y'all from? Bad boys gotta say about Ida B. From WGCI. That's 3 down. 2 more projects. Still on the show called It's Your Birthday. Go, 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 go. Question. Hey, she doing the question. No more to go. With the show called It's Your Birthday. Hey, let that play. It took that.
I'm tired just listening to that.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIFTBPM. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And we are back. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Herb Howard, Toussaint Werner here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. It means the world to us that you choose to spend your afternoons here with us and contribute to the conversation. If you want, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. We will read through as many of them as possible as we go through the show. Also, if you want to contribute to the show, you can do so by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. We certainly appreciate that. Many of you have already chosen to do so, and we are more than grateful for every single one of them. We truly appreciate all of you all. Don't forget, coming up next, Chicago Famous with Mike Love and the Diz, doing their thing as they always do, bringing you entertainment in the raw. And I really like to hear them on What's in It for the Black People Media, because growing up hearing them on the radio, right, you got to know them one way, but hearing them on What's in It for the Black People Media, you get to know them a little bit better, right? You get to hear them saying things a little bit differently. I'd be like, oh shit, who knew? I never knew when I was growing up that Mike Love cussed. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of cool to hear them on What's in It for the Black People Media. They are here every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m.
And they had an interesting segment. Well, the whole concept, the base of the show is Chicago Famous. So they bring in people who have ties to Chicago that are famous.
I love it.
And they did a brother, I can't speak to what singing group he was a part of, but way before my time. Way before my time. But just hearing his story was very, very interesting. And I love that component of their conversation.
Yeah, no, it's super dope. I always look forward to tuning into them. So
Kenny
make sure
Burke?
Kenny Burke might be his name.
That's his name?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to tuning into them as always. Every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. Chicago Famous right here on What's in It for the Black People Media. They are out there in the green room. I can hear them because
they loud.
Quiet down.
Yeah, because they do whatever they can. They do whatever they can to disrupt our show, man. Mayors just start yelling and shit.
Know, we kind of the black sheep of the family.
We are the black sheep of the family.
It's all good, though.
And it's okay. We fully embrace that role here. This is intellectual thuggery at its finest. Listen, you have seen the show. I haven't seen it. I will check it out if you recommend it. Social Dilemma. It is a new show on Netflix, and it essentially talks about how social media and other media platforms are used to influence our everyday thinking and impact our thoughts and our philosophies for how we do. We had a premise earlier that perhaps there are no more original thoughts right now. Everything is kind of giving it to you, right? There was some episode of Martin where he was joking around. He's like, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. But that's really what's really happening right now, right? All of your thoughts and opinions are being formed through the things that you consume, and those things are being tailored to you in such a way to where your opinions are actually pretty much being given to you at this point.
We talk a lot about AI on this show, right?
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
What happens when the world gets taken over by artificial intelligence?
Kenny Burke from the 5 Stair Steps. Thank you, brother Salim.
Absolutely, right. So, but
because I'm sure Salim produced one of the songs.
He probably did. He was probably saying back up. He probably saying back up.
The Black Forest Gump, man. He was there somewhere.
But in that vein, though, when we talk about AI, we always talk about it as if it's coming and not here. Right, but when you look at the documentary, The Social Dilemma, and it's just a cadre of interviews from high-ranking employees from the top tier digital sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Gmail, Google, those places. And what their argument is that you're waiting for something that's already here, and it's already activated and acting in the manner that you think is going to act in.
Right,
you're already being exposed to it. You're already part of the paradigm, right? And hearing it from that perspective has to make you say, what's that shit look like?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I look at my Facebook feed, you say you don't use Facebook a lot, and you do use Instagram much more than I don't really deal with Instagram, right? But I can see the difference in my Facebook between when I was legitimately in alignment with just people I really knew in my life, versus kind of where I'm at now. I'm like at capacity of whatever capacity is, right? And I probably got another couple thousand people that's kind of trying to be whatever, my friend or whatever.
Yeah.
So what happens though when all those people start to tune in to you, your logarithm shifts. And most of you got to think most of the people who tune in to me are tuned in to me basically because of my conversations around race and politics. Right. Well, that ain't all that I'm made up of. No. That's not all I'm interested in, right? But because the logarithm kind of takes on a life of its own, everything in that feed is geared toward those thought processes, right? And it's getting to a point where I'm bored of this shit, but it's a necessary evil to continue even doing the show. You know what I mean? But you can see how the logarithm shifts. It's like this is all that's happening in the world, right? And if I'm not more enlightened person to kind of know the diversity of thought that's out there, be engaged in the diversity of thought that's out there, you would think that this is what everybody in the world fucking thinks. This is what's all on everybody's fucking mind.
That's all there is to it, right?
That's all it is to it, right? We got to be honest. Like my children, and I'm using my children as leverage, but I would almost argue that almost all human beings get most of their media from those sites at this point.
Oh, sure.
Right? You can see where people have full contextual conversations about stories that are happening, but they're only talking about it from the headline.
That's it.
Well, the only way you can have that is if you get them via social media, right? Because if you actually read the article, you know the headline means something different.
Right.
That's
clickbait.
It's clickbait, right? If you heard it on news or got in the newspaper, you would have a different response to it.
You know the substance of the story.
You know the substance of the story. So your ass is legitimately feeding off of these feeds.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And it starts to dictate.
It's a news feed
and shape your thought.
Like we don't often actually take the time to like break down some of these words, but it's a news feed. We're feeding you the news that we want you to consume, right? That's really all it is. And you take those things in, and if you don't, which you're perfectly able to do, if you don't actually go ahead and click on it and then read the actual story or read the get into the deep context of what's actually happening here, then all you know is what the only thing they wanted you to know. And then that's it. And then you take that and you go run with it, and there's nothing else to be applied. But you walk around assuming that you know some shit now and that you're ready to speak on it from an intelligent point of view, and you really are not.
But it's so deep, though, in the sense that, and again, I can't explain it the way these people explain it because they are the engineers who created this shit, right? But they talk about it from the standpoint of there's an actual clash, and I think they was talking about it at Harvard Business School. I'm not sure. But it's about influencing the psyche of the human being, and they leverage that through some of the techniques used to get your ass attending to your social media feeds, right? So it's like a dopamine shot when you get a like, or it's a dopamine shot when somebody comments on your shit. Dopamine like sugar, like sugar's an addiction. We don't think of it like that, but it's probably the greatest drug in America, right? It's an addiction, right? Once your body gets that Hershey's bar in your system, it starts to crave some other shit that has that same amount of sugar.
Yeah, and anything that would conjure up any type of connection to it, right? You see that type of image, you see the commercial, you see it at the checkout line. You got everything you wanted from the store, but you got to pass this little motherfucking candy bar machine, and then you see it, and then it releases those endorphins, and your body's like, hey, we need that. It absolutely works the same way.
Works the exact same way, right? But then you got to ask yourself a deeper question, right? How does social media make money? How does it make money? Right? There was a guy in this documentary. His job was he was the president of monetization. Okay. I thought that was so fucking interesting.
President of monetization.
Think about that.
I'm the VP of monetization at whatever social media.
But all this shit is business, right?
Sure.
And any business, the bottom line is monetize.
That's it.
Right? Well, the way the digital space works, they have to hire somebody to monetize because there's no legitimate streamlined concept to monetizing because there's no fucking product. Every other business has a product which also relates to monetization. I know if I create XYZ pair of shoes, I'm going to make XYZ amount of money.
Right.
Where there's no, in a digital space, there is no product.
Right.
So what you got to understand is we say this shit all the time, like they're selling our data. And even me, my mind said, well, our data becomes the product. But then you think about it from the standpoint of what is a productive business model. If that's the product, then it wouldn't make sense for you to sell that to somebody else because you need to keep building upon that to be valuable. So our data isn't the product. What is the product is being able to manipulate thought. I can force your hand to go buy, go do, go act. Our behavior is the product.
But I think they use the data to dictate and influence the behavior.
I'm not disagreeing, but it's still not the product. It's almost like slavery and cotton, right? We oftentimes think of cotton as the product. The fucking slave was the product. Cotton is just a byproduct of the real product. The slave itself was the product. They sold slaves on Wall Street. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The slave was the product. The slave was where the equity was built, right? Depending on how many fucking slaves.
That's how they were able to leverage everything from all those.
Everything else
European
was a byproduct of the slave.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Right. And in context, it's the same shit. Because if you do whatever the fucking computer tells you to do, then what are you but a slave?
No, that's real.
Right? You got to ask yourself: are you using your smartphone? Or is your smartphone using you?
Oh, it's absolutely using you because it's using you to not only influence with what you think, but then they are collecting all that data, and then they are then able to sell all of that data. Now, I get you in terms of saying that then becomes the byproduct and not the initial product, right? But they are then using that data to sell it to the highest bidder, right? Oh, this company wants to know how consumers view this, how consumers behave around this, how consumers behave around that, and then they sell it and they find ways to monetize it. That's why there is a position created solely for that purpose within those companies. So I absolutely understand it. When you put in those terms, I'm looking forward to watching the show. It's called Social Dilemma, and it is available on Netflix. And whoever you share your Netflix account with, just pull it up and see it.
I suggest everybody check it out, man. I just thought it was very interesting to think about it from the standpoint of the AI is legitimately here. It is already. You know what I mean? We just don't think of it like that. The ATM is AI. The self-checkout line is the goddamn grocery store is AI.
Everything.
We adapt to it. It just becomes a part of our social norms.
Yeah.
But we don't really, contextually, Mariano's around the corner, right? When they opened, it was one self-checkout line. Matter of fact, it was no self-checkout lines in the beginning of Mariano's.
Okay.
Now, there's 4 self-checkout lines at Mariano's, and you start to see the difference in how the register
it might be two
cash
employees
now, right? We don't need you people, right? We talked about the Amazon grocery store where you don't need any employees working there.
Yeah.
Right? Then you put your shit in your basket, they charge your card based on weight. You out of there.
You go.
Right? This is changing the way we view the world, right? So in the context of the existence of America, because we talk about Trump from that standpoint, like he's going to take America over the edge. America might already be gone. We just don't recognize it.
You talk about things like fully functioning McDonald's with 0 employees.
The America in the context that we know it as it's already gone.
Yeah, and so that is a very, very real thing that we must continue to. I won't even say keep our eye on it because it's really like something like you said. It's already out there. It's too late, but it's carbon dioxide. Like by the time you recognize the effects, it's really fucking too late for that shit, right? It's already been out there, and so I think that what you have to do then is understand it. Understand how it works, understand how they're trying to use it to manipulate and influence you, and then figure out other ways of existing, other ways of being, different ways that are not, or at least that we haven't been able to do in the past, right? And so they may be available now, but You have to be looking at it in a different way and try to figure out, okay, how can I start to do things for myself? Because this normal constructed way of doing things is not going to work for very much longer. We aren't going to be on for very much longer. We got about 13 minutes left in the show. We got to take a break. When we come back, going to play a quick audio for you of really, really tragic incident that happened in the Chicagoland area. There was a newborn baby found in a hallway. Fortunately, they were able to call the police and get the baby some help in time. To my understanding, the baby did survive. We'll have that conversation, and then we'll wrap it up right after this.
WIFTBPM. You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard. Well, what was the power of the Bible? Most motherfuckers couldn't read. So the Bible legitimately changed the world because motherfuckers began to learn to read. Once I can learn to read, wait a minute, I can question some of this bullshit you talking about. What school you go to, though? It don't matter.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Well, no, I went to Dunbar. Yes! That's not Dunbar. Oh, it's good. People disrespect the city schools. This Chicago. And I'm a motherfucking genius.
And it's on period.
Nah, to the Bible, man. Nah, I'm just playing. But seriously, though, think about it, though, right? The Bible legitimately changed the world, right? What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard live on What's In It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And we are back. We are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said, Herb Howard and Toussaint Warner here with you for about another 10 minutes. Thank y'all so much for choosing to hang out with us this entire afternoon. We truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you had the opportunity to check out the Mace Jackson show earlier this morning, followed up by B.O.D., The Book of Dawn with the Radio Rookie and Lisa E. Then I hope you had a chance to check out the premiere episode of Muwakil's World with Salim Muwakil every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The good brother Salim will be right here on What's In It for the Black People Media, then followed up by us. I Say What I Said. Coming up next, rounding out the day of programming, Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz. 2, I tagged you in a video. I thought it was disturbing, obviously on many levels, right? You see a baby left in the hallway, it's disturbing. But you also have to, and I think you have to consider what would drive a person to make that particular decision for what to do with this child, right? Mm-hmm. What circumstances are they in that they can't take it to their family, right? That's obviously a problem, right? Obviously, I don't feel comfortable enough in my ability to raise or provide for this child. I don't want this child, whatever it may be. But then to not say, okay, I can at least have it in the hospital, put the baby up for adoption. I could drop this baby off at a fire station, no questions asked. Drop it off at the police station, no questions asked. I'm going to cut this umbilical cord and leave this baby in a hallway. The people who found the baby then went and grabbed the blanket to kind of wrap the baby up because the baby was left naked and blood covered in a hallway. I'm going to play a little bit of the audio for you. The audio is about 7 minutes, so we won't play the whole thing, but I'll play a little bit of the audio. Esco, if you could pull that up, please, and thank you, ma'am.
It's a real baby, folks.
A real baby.
They left a baby. Whoever see this, whoever you is, bro, you a low down. Oh, they got blood right here and everything, folks. Somebody left a baby in y'all hallway, boy. On Tyrus, the baby down here in my crib, right here by my house. A baby, G. This bitch brand new, folks. On the G. There's blood and all type of shit, boy.
Baby, this bitch brand new,
folks. This bitch brand new, folks.
Stay right there. They pull up right now.
219.
Flag them down.
334.
Oh, this bitch got to go by. Let me see this shit crazy. It's a real baby, folks.
A real baby.
They left the baby. I'm trying to make sure it wasn't shorty. Cause she out there with a little girl.
car so you got the shoestring.
You should just wait for them because they're gonna pull them.
Yeah, they don't do that shit.
Store stuff.
Listen, if you want to,
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
Yes. See if you can get to about the 5:20 mark of
Here we
that
go.
of that clip. Where he's
So
trying
look,
to
I got a petty
negotiate.
warrant.
Y'all found any y'all found the baby?
Nah, girl did. But I'm saying though, look, since we did a good job, right? I got a petty warrant. Y'all think y'all can clear for me? It ain't for this jurisdiction though. It's for out of town. You feel me? Just clear for me. Come on, man. I'm trying to change my life. That's I saved a life today.
Here's the thing about a warrant.
It's only in that jurisdiction. Call them and tell them it's all the way over there. Oh, no, not that way. That way. It ain't even in this state. But call them and be like, man, it's out of town.
Okay. Yeah.
You feel me? Just call them and tell them like clears warrant. He helped her with a baby.
It doesn't work that way. Probably on TV, but it doesn't. I know what you're saying.
But look, if you see me in traffic one day, remember my face.
I got you. I got you on one.
I bet. They call me P. Nash.
Call me P. Nash.
Hey, dog, the baby's still alive though. Everything good. The baby's still alive. Hey, whoever.
That was a disturbing and hilarious audio from a video clip that I initially
You're
found
not my dad.
You're not my
That's all that kept coming to my mind.
Esco gonna have that chopped up. Y'all silly, man. Listen, it's a very, very, very sad story. You can find the video. I found it on D.L. Hughley's Instagram page if you want to see the actual footage of the full video. It is disturbing. There are videos
On Tyrus, folks.
On Tyrus, folks. So Tyrus is clearly somebody who died, and they put everything on him.
Clearly, Tyrus.
Right?
Tyrus is a legend in the hood.
Right, he's a legend in the hood, and they put everything on him. But a real baby, folks. This bitch brand new.
This bitch brand new, folks. They dropped the baby off in the hallway, folks.
Like this, it's not funny at all, but the video, it's absolutely hilarious. That brother narrating and then trying to leverage his good deed of saving a baby's life to get a warrant vacated for his arrest.
Hey, I say the baby, you can take this warrant up off me. My
You
name
hear me?
Peanut if you catch me in traffic, folks.
Hey, man. Hey.
I fuck with him for
hey,
that.
shout out to the brother. Listen.
Well done.
Right there in that moment, he realized, hey, I might got some leverage here. Let me see what I can get for it. Maybe black people need to be learning something about that for how we leverage what we need in politics as well.
And life in general.
Right. What the fuck is in it for me?
There's a lot of comments in the comment section talking about Brenda, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the
Brenda,
the Pac song.
she's got a baby.
Yeah, Brenda's got a baby, but Brenda's barely got a brain. A damn shame. The child could barely spell her name. That's right. You know, Brenda's was one of Pac's classic songs.
Facts.
One, we got to think about the capacity. So, you know, you said tragic, and I fully grasp that too. But right, what's on the other end of that tragedy? Right, what would it look like if that baby was born into a mother who was already willing to leave her in the hallway or him in the hallway?
Yeah.
Right. What happens to that child's life?
Yeah.
Right. So in a lot of ways, it tragic. I don't know if that's the right word. Right. Maybe it was the right move.
So I'm clearly giving that. Clearly, the person who had that baby not raising that child was the best thing that could have ever happened to that child. Right. But I'm saying tragic in that one, the baby could have died. You left it in a freaking cold ass hallway. That's number one. But number two, what I'm speaking on when I say tragic is the set of circumstances that must have been in the child's parents' life for them to make that decision. That is where I think the tragedy has taken place. Somebody has gone through at least 13 years of a hellish existence to arrive at that conclusion at that time to say this is the best thing I can do for this baby is leaving in the hallway, right? I say 13 because she had to be at least old enough to produce a child, right? I don't know how old this person was. Could have been 25. I have no idea, right? But what I'm saying is the circumstances around that person's life had to be such that was the best thing they thought they could do at that time. That's the fucking tragedy for me. I feel bad for that person. I know if that person is ever identified, she's going to be vilified and everything else, right? That's not the stance that I would take on that, right? I feel terrible for the person who thought that the best thing they could do was leave this baby in a hallway. And again, it's probably going to end up better for the baby that they were left there as opposed to being raised by that individual. But to not at least take it to a fire station, right? Or something like that.
But again, right, information is power, right? So there was a very young folks that found the child, one. Everybody in that
they was
video
young as hell.
Very young.
Young as hell. Nobody was over 25.
Dude who was like on Tyrus and them looked like he would have been the oldest cat in the video.
Yeah.
Right. And just from the conversation on Tyrus, you see where he's at.
Yeah, you see where he's at with it, right?
So to know to go to a fire station or a police station, or I don't know if that's available to you. You know what I mean? Shit, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? When you just said it, it made me it rekindled in my mind that that's a possibility. But it probably wouldn't have been my thought in a distressful situation. You know what I mean? But one of the things that
she thought the most humane thing was because clearly there's a dumpster around that could have been an option.
She could have hid the baby.
She said, at least let me put it in the hallway. Somebody will see this baby.
And there's more to the story, because even when she dropped the baby off, the guys who's in the commentary on video, he said, no, a little girl brought the baby over here,
right? But
it wasn't her baby,
right?
So maybe she handed it off to the little girl. We don't know the full context of the story, right? But again, man, I think that I was more impressed with the fact that those were all young people in that video. And they made all of the right decisions.
They made all the right decisions.
They wrapped the baby up to keep
it
warm.
They got it right.
They called the police. They had a conversation with the police about how this took place. They didn't.
Nobody incriminated themselves. Right.
They didn't incriminate. Even the dude who was filming on Tyrus and them, he was like, "I'm filming so that we don't incriminate ourselves."
Exactly. He did.
Capacity.
He did.
You know what I mean? And really, what it really speaks to is the humanity that we still do have.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of blessings
it's
attached
nature.
to that.
We can tap into our natural selves, our natural spirituality. It will guide us to do the right thing more often than not. That baby was left in a hallway that was, I think, an entrance or two down from where we pick it up in the video at. And that's where the little girl found it naked. And she came outside with it. And he said, because he can't stop using the word bitch. The bitch walk up to me with the baby, right? He's
nah, so nobody in this bitch,
right? So he's right. So I don't even really think he's like trying to call the baby. That's just how he describes things. Like, this bitch was cracking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just how
this bitch random.
That's his vocabulary, right? So I think that, but you're right. They all made all of the proper decisions, and ultimately, I think they were able to save that child's life. And ultimately, probably if for no other reason other than this video going viral, that baby's probably going to have a decent-ass life. Somebody's going to want to take that baby in. Some rich motherfucker is going to want to play hero to that baby, and that baby's probably going to be okay, right? And it'll be a hell of a story to tell at some point in the future. Listen, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, I wish the baby all the best. I wish all the kids in the video all the best, too, right? Because, this is a very cruel world when it comes to black youth.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a cruel world in regards to black people, but black youth,
it's a minefield.
Y'all suffer through some irreconcilable bullshit.
It's a minefield that must be navigated. Listen, that is the end of the show for us. I want to thank all of you all for tuning in. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for the comments. Thank you all for sharing the conversation. If you have not done so, please take a moment to do so. Thank you all so very, very much for contributing by clicking on those gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Me and Tucson appreciate every single one of them. We will see you guys Wednesday at 1 p.m. Coming up next, Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz. For Tucson Warner and for the best producer in the game, Miss Sonia Escobar.
Let's go.
My name is Herb Howard. Till next time, y'all be good to each other.
Assalamu alaikum.